Good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody. So it's a few minutes early. Let me start with the music while I get my coffee ready so then we can just attend to the readings in peace. Okay, let's start. Hello. Let's see who is here. Good morning to the brave ones who are not already outside and shopping. So let's see what we have. I actually slept in. I wanted to put Merry Christmas on the side, kind of like thing, but I'll make a point to do it for the next time. So hi Karina, hi Dominiki, hi Desirea, hi Sibyl Hill, hi China, hi Lati, my dear. Lati, you are in charge today for the group and you are going to be assigning a winner. Stephanie, good morning. So let's see, Kimberly, good morning. Who else? Hi Barbie, good morning. Hi Sally. Sweetie, cold here in Michigan. Sun is shining here as well. I don't know if it's cold. I must be. I'm seeing the solar panels on the neighbor's roof, kind of frozen. Hi Tori, I'm love. How are you? Hi Kimberly. Hi Dean. Didn't see you in a while. Dion, good morning. Subramanyam, good morning from India. So we have that continent. Where are you guys from? Don't see. Oh, look at it. CB Hill is already doing 11:11. Well, it's like 11:02, but thank you. That's so sweet. So it's going to be some kind of like really interesting messaging. So where were you, Dean? Like, I mean, no, like you had like guys who were actually really stepping in. So I would like to see them as well. Okay, so joie de vivre. And I know if you speak French that you're going to really laugh at my accent. I know. It's actually way worse than my accent in English, so just bear with me. But it's kind of like lovely, very whimsical and playful tarot. And I'm not so sure what to do for the rest. Should I do Gypsy? Should I do Lenormand? Should I just do regular tarot? There is my Libra nature kicking in. Now you can see Libra in action. What do I do? And I cannot make my mind up. The whole morning I'm mulling this kind of like over. Lenormand can give me kind of like bigger overview. Oh my goodness, you see, that's kind of like how Libras are, and I absolutely hate when I get in that situation. Okay, there is it. I'm getting help. Sally says Gypsy. Yeah, that's what kind of like I was thinking. Probably gypsy would make more sense, but also I could actually pick up runes and kind of like get that for the element and go in the detail. So that kind of, there it is, have, I don't know, I was just talking about you. Okay. So should I do runes? And the runes are going to give us a bigger blanket, or gypsy or Lenormand. What do you guys say? Lenormand is more or less general kind of like pictures. This is going to be, a gypsy is more emotional, and rune is more situational. So they are like 3 different aspects. So far I have 2 gypsies that are really talking about that. So I have 2 types of gypsies. So okay, so let's do gypsy. Let's go with that. So we are starting with, oh, CB Hill. What's going on? We are going with this 11 multiples. It's kind of like really interesting. Look at this, Michelle. Runes are cool. Maybe I should do a combination of runes and gypsy for general, and then I can go in particular with this. That kind of like actually sits well with me. So let's do that. We are starting with fire, because it's fire's birthday. So happy birthday to all Sagittarians who had it, like, I mean, last week, belated birthday, and also the birthday that you're going to have this week, your Christmas babies. You must be really neglected because everybody's in the Christmas kind of a thing, right? So let's do it. Let's see. I don't know if you can even see. Oh, that's right. It's, I don't know like why this kind of really zooms in, so it's hard to see over there. So we got an F word. Well, just kidding. This is basically called, is this down? Yeah, it is down. It's called Ansus, and it is the rune of basically the divine. And this is about expressing yourself through basically thought and speech, which basically is very much what Sagittarians do, right? And it is like the rune of key inspiration. So even though I'm just reading for this entire fire, I'm really kind of like seeing here like the Sagittarians are coming through like with their kind of like philosophical attitudes. So what we are basically dealing here with is the ability to kind of like express our needs, ability to say what we really need. And you know, this is the very divine spark that is separating us from basically the animal kingdom, and hence this can be some kind of like flashes of insight. So it might be completely adjusting to an entirely new set of circumstances. It does have a little bit of tower in it, right? But it can indicate, hence, because we need to express something, that we are like going through some kind of like conscious confusion, but our unconscious mind knows exactly what to do. So it's kind of like we need to kind of like travel that bridge over here. This is like definitely a rune of spiritual intervention and sort of like inspirational power that communicates kind of like to you, and there are going to be lots of synchronicities. So also it could be valuable advice from somebody older or wiser intellectual, or somehow your willingness or ability to kind of like surmount a problem. It really talks excuse me, about the times that could be hardship, where we really need to kind of like get this like enlightening if you really wish. So let's see. The runes comes from pagan times, from the Norsemen and Vikings. That's right. And the Thor, the god of Norse, the Norse god, he kind of like was in the hangman position, and I really think that's where the hangman comes from. And it was that sacrifice, as he was kind of like doing that like upright kind of like reverse position. He kind of like started watching things and marks on the ground, and he saw runes engraved, etched basically in the ground and the stone below. And while he was going through his basically enlightenment, he actually read runes. So runes are actually very, very powerful. Interestingly enough, the card in Gypsy that came through for you was thought. And let me just grab one more Lenormand for fire And there is the Rider. There is like this motion forward. It might be some kind of traveling. We are officially out of Mercury retrograde, even though it still will take about 3 weeks for it to be fully kind of operational. But this kind of like really talks about forward motion, kind of like going in a direction where maybe it requires some kind of like healing, but this also can indicate travel, right? It can indicate some news as well. It can indicate speed, right? So some news is going to follow. Maybe you're thinking about some news that's going to be happening, and it's kind of like really interesting over here because it can be some kind of like change that is indicated over there. So we are going to see what is this all about. So let's go with Sagittarius first, given that you are birthday people over here. So let's do that. Let's do that. Hi Kalina. Oh, you're in Paris. Bonjour. So you should be the person I should ask how to pronounce joie de vivre. Okay, so let's look. Sagittarius, 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 Sagis and Sagis. And look at that. We have the Death reversed and we have Three of Swords. Oh boy, what is going on here? Three of Swords is definitely talking about rejection. Three of Swords is talking about possibly a third party and some kind of like immense suffering that really shouldn't be suffering. Because look, there is like this kind of like breakthrough that needs to happen. There is a center, but instead of like going through that center as we can see it over here, the person just like smashes against the wall. It's kind of like self-imposed, guys. This card, when it reverses, always warns that you are something, you're doing that to yourself. Oh my gosh, this is ouch, 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 ouch. You know, so what the heck is going on here? This is altogether Tower moment that is kind of like spelling it out. Let me just get the other Gypsy cards and the Angel cards to see. Because that card shows up when we are not willing to do something on our own, and this destiny says you have to wake up, you have the things that the way they were, they cannot continue. And there's like somebody who is completely hesitant in moving it forward. Presence. Presence means staying in the now. There is like a sadness that I'm picking up here, and sadness is over usually past and the future. It's never about presence. Presence is like what basically can kind of like guard us down. I'm not sure that I like cheese on my omelet, but thanks for the suggestion. How about bacon and eggs? That's very Canadian thing. So let's see here. Let's get me one more thing because that's not good. Saggies. Oh my gosh, Saggies. I'm going to get lots of... This is karmic constancy. You're getting like this really, really, excuse me, big cards. And I'm sniffling a little bit, so kind of like, pardon me. I'll have to from time to time kind of like empty my nose, and I'll try to see if I can actually shut the microphone so you don't have to listen to this, right? So constancy is this like really, really big eye that really talks about continuity and steadiness, and it's something long lasting. So there's like something that gets rewarded, but it also gets punished in the equal kind of like measures. Like if you have been good, you know, it's a Santa time. Excuse me. And I'm not sick. I don't know what the heck is going on. Okay, you know what? I'm going to try to just block the microphone for a second, and I really hope it comes back. I hope you can hear me back. Please let me know if you don't, right? So this is kind of like almost like as an overseer, that like you're right now under the foot of karma. Somebody's like taking you and telling you that you need to think through certain things. So loyalty and sincerity will be rewarded, but also disloyalty and lack of sincerity will be punished. So like one is asking you to kind of like bridge and go to the basically other, right? So it's kind of like interesting that this is telling me, and that's probably why the suffering is happening, is that there is not going to be change in attitude. And you know, this generally talks about that somebody is willing to continue with kind of like status quo, right? It it actually can be linked to something adverse. So something like, for example, suggesting that despite efforts, little or nothing will change, and that situation is kind of like unmovable. So I would really like to know what the heck is this going on, Saggies, over here. How many Saggies do we have here? Yeah, I'm kind of like coughing that like this is the talking that I'm channeling over here, probably from Sagittarians. There is like a need to express certain things. There are blockages. And maybe like, I mean, in the regular deck, the constancy is shown with be kind of like these big boulders, like a big kind of like stone blocks that you need to build a house. So there are like some blockages that need to be kind of cleared over here. A little bit of coffee. Hopefully this kind of like cup of decaf java will help. Who's next? Aries. Aries, 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 Aries. Oops. Six of Swords and the Tower. Oh my gosh, fire. What is it? Like, I mean, it's too much fire with the Christmas lights. Everything is going on. Six of Swords means coming back to some old issues. And these old issues are not sustainable anymore. They will sort of like rock, not in a good way, rock your world. Certain things need to be readjusted. Certain things are just not sustainable. They have to be rebuilt. They have to be kind of like done in a kind of like different direction. Whenever the Tower shows up in the upright situation, it kind of like really talks about the situation where, look, we see the princess over here, who kind of like had this like big octopus coming to get her. So it kind of like feels maybe being overwhelmed with things. It simply could mean something as simple as, hey, you know, it's Christmas, I have to do all this like freaking things and people are nuts, you know, like, I mean, every Christmas I'm trying to avoid shopping and I try to get my Christmas shopping prior to that, because all of these cars are in a way, and it's possible that somebody hits you. So it could be something as simple as that you're really nervous about everything that has to be done. But this is kind of like really interesting, because this is linking to this like thought over here. It is like linking to kind of that divine over here. Like, you see, this is moving forward, but this is going backwards. So it's going to make you feel a little bit displaced. So purification. I guess you have to figure out what you guys want. It's a really, really good card. Purification kind of like talks about, it's very simple for you to check your motives. Are they pure? Are you really, like, I mean, going for something that should be done, or is there a self-interest? So that's simple, kind of like you can reassess this and kind of like go from there. So let's get one more thing here. And look at that. You're getting the Death here. So Aries and Saggies, it's going to be similar flavor, and it is about creating some kind of like stability for you, and certain things that have been destabilizing need to stop. You're going to really put an end to it. The Death card is like, guys, it's not a bad card, right? The Death card is really talking about, yes, it is definitely ending, and nobody likes that ending, which can talk about even ending of marriage, ending of a profession, ending of a job, right? But it could also mean that something that needs to kind of like stop, such as, like, you know, regrets or bitterness, and accept the thing is over, that the answer was no, that certain things kind of like are not doing it. So it's kind of like a need for not just a change, but for the radical change, right? So change is like usually unpleasant. Most of us don't like change, right? I like my hermit mode, leave me alone kind of a thing. So if somebody kind of brings party to my door, I will get, oh, but that would literally suggest that if that shows up for that kind of like a question. So just keep that in mind. So whatever it is that you are sort of like thinking that things are working out, this is going to come as a big change in this particular situation. So is this kind of like position okay? Let me just check. I'm thinking that something is wrong with my tripod. Where is my mouse? Oh, there is my mouse here. Let me just give me a second, and we are going to do the last is going to be, oh, that's why it is. Let me just zoom it out and see if that will help. Last is going to be Leo. Leo. There we go. Leo. And now I pushed it too much, so let's do it this way. Leo. We are having 9 of Wands. And just giving up on something or somebody. 9 of Wands is like, hey, I'm struggling, I'm trying to make you notice me, and nothing is happening. It's kind of like one of those seasoned warrior. It shows us people who are super persistent, but everything kind of like has its limits in that kind of stuff. And there you go, talking about a hermit. They're both 9s. Leos will kind of like want to be left on their own and kind of like dealing with their own wisdom. So it is really connecting to this like thought, right? So with Aries it was like, I need to think back about the things that I need to repair, but here it is like, I need to think about the present and the future. What is the wisest thing for me? Kind of like really giving up on doing certain things and trying to figure out new ways of assessing things. All of these things, like 9 and death, are heralding the ending of one phase. And it's kind of like you need to get out of that kind of like cocoon and kind of like spread your wings. Some people just like get stuck and then simply kind of like basically this whole thing falls apart. So it's going to be really the most kind of like prominent for Aries, and the least prominent for Leo over here, because Leo is going to be a little bit introverted. This can also signify winter blues as well, you know, like when we think we are sad, but truth is we are really going through that phase where we kind of like learning things about ourselves. And I really think this is also a lot about charity, a lot of about assessing the other people, because we feel sorry for ourselves and kind of like see this generosity we can do and bestow upon the others. Look at here, we have honesty. This is really lovely, and I feel that honesty card here is really referring to you guys. Are you honest with yourself? Are you doing things that are beneficial for you? Are you doing things that are going to benefit you? And what and if you kind of like do that, are you feeling that you're selfish? Are you dedicating yourself? Are you dedicating yourself to others, especially in this time? Because this is like asking that you need to find the wisdom in the situation, and that is really, really important, right? So let's see. And we have vanity and desire. So that sometimes goes hand in hand with Leos, right? But I really, really think this is really talking about longing for someone. There is like still kind of like that feeling that you kind of like want to get to, you know, in touch with maybe some people who maybe are no longer in your life. Maybe you have lost someone. It could be like by death that is appearing here. It's still like I see all fire kind of like trying to meet the unmet needs. And the good thing is like that you're going to go through kind of like the inner search in order to figure out which new direction you really, really want to go into. Because look, both of them have this essence of moving forward. So honesty also means being honest with yourself, what you really need. Some people are just really willing and able to convince themselves like they are like, I mean, it's perfectly okay in a bad situation, and the bad situations tend to get worse with time. So this is kind of like something that where we can kind of like find that space and figure out where we are and where we need to go and how to get there. So that's basically what Leos will be doing. So which group will we do next, guys? What do you think? Love the Hermit card. I actually love that card too. That's basically my life for the last 2 years, trying to be wise and kind of like get rid of people. People are always creating problems, right? So let's see. It doesn't have to be silent face. You can be hermit in the middle of, in a room of people. So for example, if you go to Starbucks, you see lots of hermits. They're like these people with their laptops for themselves. I mean, instead of being in a coffee shop and discussing things with the other people, you sometimes see people at the same table coming together, like, I mean, two girlfriends, and they're on their laptops or phones. I was like, are they texting each other? Like, how about trying to kind of like converse? So that certainly wouldn't be wise, but hermit can actually indicate somebody being in the midst of people, but still kind of like having that internal process over here. So a sip of coffee. Oh my goodness, that felt good. I love coffee, and it's like one of the, I mean, I'm already on a decaf. I cannot give this up. Okay, let me just like mute my microphone for a second. I need to attend to my nose. Hi Lars, you know what? I see you here very often, so I'm going to make you a mod because we need more guys over here. So you need to kind of like step in and give your opinion and interact with the other people, and there it is. I saddle you with responsibility. How's that? Like you didn't expect that there in Faroe Islands. So hello international crowd, I just love it. Lati's in Puerto Rico, Heavy's in South Africa, I think Tori is American, Barbie's American, I'm Canadian / Croatian, and who else is there? Yeah, so now we have Lars, who is from Faroe Island, which is basically Denmark, but it's the island really north in between Greenland and England, so we can see it from all over the place. So it will be also good to have Australians and like people from subcontinent of India or Asia, because it's kind of harder for you because it's very late at night. So which sign are we doing? Which kind of group are we doing? Water, air? Lati, did you follow? Did you follow? Did you follow? Who is going to be? Who is going to be? Or I'm going to make an executive decision. What's going to be next? It's going to be Earth. It's going to be Earth. Okay. So Earth, 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 Earth. Ha! Interestingly enough, this is called the rune of necessity, but that's kind of like where it should go. It's notice, right? So it's kind of like reversed. This kind of like is really talking about something that increases chances of success. It can talk about outrageous fortune, but it is reversed, right? So there is like something that is stopping you to kind of get through that wall. You're still possibly not in the right mental. Oh my gosh, did I win the 60 millions last night? Talking about not being in the right mental state. Like, in order to play lottery, you have to really think about it. And I was like, oh, it would be so nice to win 60 millions. Then, you know, I don't really do the private readings anymore. I would just like do these readings every day. And I didn't focus enough. So guess what? I probably, most likely, didn't win. So this is kind of like only one thing that is sure over here when I see that. It is you're confused and you don't know which way to turn. So all you can do under this kind of like circumstances, Earth, is to be cautious and watchful. So just kind of like be patient while this kind of like confusion is passing, right? So keep in mind that there's like something really hiding behind it, that luck and happiness and success, and it's really, really important for you to kind of like clear that veil that's blocking it. Okay. And that is about some kind of like communication, right? The letter here is definitely talking about messaging, right? Letter is also talking about answer or approval or contracts or documents. Well, it was reversed also, and something is either being very late or is coming like, I mean, late, or it could be delayed, or it might not even come. So if you're expecting something, especially for Christmas, a bonus, a money, something may happen. This is still the influence, I guess, gratitude of Mercury retrograde. So the reversal doesn't necessarily mean bad news. I just like want to do that, just that they will not arrive as expected. So for example, if you're expecting bad news, then it would suggest they're not going to come. So it can be really, really positive. But also it could be that maybe you're out of reach of someone and that somebody's waiting for you to kind of like act, that sort of things. So definitely it's going to be really, really interesting, because it's kind of like it doesn't talk about generic news. It's not like, hey, cat, I can turn on the television and I'll watch the news. Even if you don't think right now that you're expecting something to come through, trust me, there will be something that you'll feel eager to hear about, and that's what's going to be the thing. Okay, so who do I do first? Virgo. Virgo. Oh my gosh, Virgos. Any Virgo over here? Come on, any Virgo over here? I want to see the email that I've got. Any email? What's going on with my mousey? Needs the oh my gosh, I just got an email from a Virgo over here, so talking about Virgos. So nope, that's going to wait until the live. It's kind of like multitasking, you can tell, like confusing times. So Virgos, I really want to thank you for amazing, amazing visits to the monthly. I think you're #1, and this is like so awesome. I just kind of like love you. And Sagittarius, Virgos and Sagittarius, like you're leading the pack. So that's what's going to happen from now on. The people who actually click on like and who view it, and you can view it a few times, are actually going to get the reading before the other signs. So kind of like I'm already making this like New Year decisions, and Letty and I prepared something for you starting the next time. We are still cooking kind of like how to do this, about winning the things, because somebody's going to win today for your reading, and Letty is the one who is going to decide this. But for the next time, it's going to be a little tiny different system. So let's start. Virgos, 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 Virgos. 7 of coins. That's the music to your ears, because look at this. The heart seed have been planted, and this is growing. Oh my gosh, this is so lovely around Christmas, because it's nice Christmas tree, even though they don't look like reindeers, it more looks like llamas to me. But anyways, we see this like abundance of pink, and it's really weird because I was picking the colors for my bathroom, and I do also feng shui, and I kind of like do this feng shui advice as well for the people, how to kind of like find their space to be comfortable and to attract the best possible luck. So I was doing that for my dad's place, for basically bathroom, and kind of like earth colors, the first thing you think of is a sand, right? Or sandy brown, and I kind of like came up with exactly this pink. So this is kind of like talking to me that something is going to be about gentleness, something is growing. You're going to be very happy about something that maybe seemed to be stagnating and not really there where you want to be, but you're going to start seeing things in a completely different way, in a way that's going to work. You're going to be very energized. You have this Queen of Wands. Look at her there. Like we see the growth in both of these things. Where the heck is the Black Kitty over here? How can you miss Black Kitty? Guys, this is absolutely lovely. So even though you might feel that you're not growing, you might feel these messages are being delayed, this is not for a reason, because maybe you're not supposed to act on something as of yet. You're supposed to kind of like brew it a little bit more. Remember, your card is the Hermit. The Hermit is about wiseness. It's not about rushing things into anything, right? So this is spiritual over here. It's 7. So it's kind of like dedication to what is my role in this whole big world. And there is like this contentment. It's understanding that it's, look at this, is this prayers, and again we see this growth of this like flowers and butterflies flying around. It's going to be some sense of almost like I can see bliss happening over here, and I really kind of like that. So let me see what other messages come from you over here. Powder white kitty cat. Zephyr is sleeping here. I'm talking about kitty cats. We have a doggy, we have a fidelity, and we have a fortune. So you know what, I really think that you're going to be surrounded with people who really have your best interest in mind. I really feel that it's going to be one of those weeks that feel like a warm, cozy blanket in front of the fireplace, where you're going to feel that you really want to schmooze and do things with people, that you want to get out of your shell, that you feel that things are actually really where they are supposed to be, and then when things are getting in the way, that this is just a part of the process. So I actually really like what I see, Virgo. So good for you. Really, really nice. Yeah, Safi is sleeping. Safi, welcome. You wanna come? Or she just like open her eyes and like, oh my gosh, let me close the eyes. Why did you wake me up? Safi, come on. And it's kind of like, Mom, leave me alone. All right. So who is next? Taurus. 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 Thanks, Lati. I'm trying to get them, but like it's becoming like weird because they have their own spots, so the pics are always the same. So I'm thinking like, I mean, you guys are going to think that I live in a shoebox because they're continuously kind of like doing the things. I bought a mirror, and unfortunately that pic didn't turn out. Safi was looking herself in the mirror, and it reminded me of that, kind of like a cat looking herself in the mirror and looking at a lion, but it kind of like it all got really fuzzy, so I couldn't post this one. Page of Cups and 8 of Coins. Look at the similarity. This is like almost like Virgos. It is about some kind of like offers and being charming and being lovely, and look at all these messages that we have. So it is some kind of like love letter, and then maybe there's like some kind of like communication from the lover that you want, and there are like some kind of like details that need to be looked. Look at this, like we have the fox boiling something, creating something. 8 of Coins is always about the details. 8 of Coins is always about kind of like trying to firm it up, something that has been built. Do not rush through the process. This is a really, really big message over here. Kind of like take it really easy over here, Taurus. So I know that Taurus sometimes like really wants to get through this like with a head through the wall. I mean, that's the stubbornness and this like big kind of like sizable thing. Just don't do it. Don't be like, I mean, bull in the china shop. That's exactly what's not going to work. What's going to work is like just go with the flow. Okay, that's hard to say to Taurus. You had a Taurus over here. Wisdom. Look at us, like we are getting all wiser. This thing. So it looks like there's going to be some delay. It sounds like you're going to get this message, even though it's going to be delayed. It's not going to be on time, and that's going to actually help you build or kind of like help you progress further. It's almost going to be some kind of like magic over here. So I'm talking about Normand, or no, I guess I'm doing the other gypsy over here. So let me see, Taurus. Hi, Temperance. How are you doing, sweetie? My sympathies for you. I hope you're doing really, really well. Temperance has lost somebody, and I wish I could be there to give you a big hug. So you're getting a gift here, guys. So this is like very, very much in tune with how I seen it. Gift card. I don't know if this is going to be early Christmas gift that I'm seeing here, or simply this is going to be a gift of advice. You know, this is not exactly something that you can put under the tree, but there's like definitely something that is going to be of value. Now this can be something really, really big. It can be kind of like inheritance. It can be improving on situation, but it also could be flattery and bribery. So I can definitely see flattery clearly coming through basically the rest over here, right? And it's like situation that is dramatically improving, and it is like based on maybe you have been building something and you were like, ah, I'm not getting anywhere with that. No, this is right now where you're coming to that kind of like breakthrough. But if there is like somebody who is a loved one, it's going to be something early coming to basic fruition, and it's going to be something with the unions. Look at all this, like my 11, 7, 7, 7, 1, 1, 1, 9, 9, 9. Thank you guys. Thank you, Dean. So accept gifts, but be kind of like wary of what motivation of the giver. You need to make sure that you check for the strings attached, right? Quid pro quo. Be kind of like aware of the responsibility over here. So that's the wisdom part that is like really, really kicking in over here. So this is Virgo and Taurus and Capricorns. Taurus. This is the Taurus just this moment, just finished seconds ago. So, Capricorn. Hello, Dominique. Where are you in Europe? Capricorn. We are having the world, and oh my gosh, Capricorn. This is absolutely lovely. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. Such a lovely card as well, both of them. This is kind of like going in a new phase, something that is very beneficial. You guys are patting yourself on the shoulder, job well done, reviewing this year, saying that things have been done and accomplished in the way that you wanted, even maybe more so. There was like extra bonus or two. One of like really good karma cards over here to get, meaning, you know, you're going in the next phase, so do not let certain things come in the way. You're kind of realizing that there is a reasoning behind things being delayed. There is like this universal karma. You cannot force things. And 10 of coins is like that really happiness within the family, within kind of like really, really nice really nice things. Oh my gosh, you're in Greece. I was in Greece around this time, and oh my gosh, was it so cold in Athens over there on Pantheon. I just like said, okay, I seen it, it's stones, I gotta go. This was like that cold. It's ridiculous. I never did it before. So let's see, Capricorn, what else you get. Enthusiasm. This is definitely enthusiasm, but not just like, hey, you know, I want a game. This is like enthusiasm combined with, you know, emotion for being comfortable where you are, for, you know, my goodness, look at all of that stuff that I have. I'm so glad to see that. You guys are going to be lots of fun to be around, having a really big force. And you have the house here that really talks about maybe you're going to be homebodies, like in this particular time, especially if you're married, if you kind of like have people around you, then, you know, you're going to be spending really time inside, feeling secure in your surroundings and stability. It's going to be also really, really good time at home. This is all talking about very stable environment, and sure enough, it can represent more than family situation, and it can talk about a stable work relationship or relationship, if that was like something that maybe you kind of like wanted to hear on this level. Keep in mind that this time around Christmas is make it or break it time for relationships. Majority of relationship breakups happen around this time, but if relationship can be mended or repaired or communicated better, then it actually has a really, really good chance of long-term survival. So it's going to be something passionate and loving and fulfilling, and not many people realize that you are basically horn dogs of the zodiacs, and that's why you are presented with that card, the devil. Okay, so who is next? Who do I want to do next? Who do I want to do next? Summer here in Australia, sending sunshine our way. Well, thanks, Kylie. I actually love snow. I know, I'm a total weirdo. I probably should live winter here and then go to Australia for winter there. And summer is never exciting to me because I'm so excited when the summer starts, and then the heat starts like suddenly. Like this summer, I don't think I was out more than just to a car and back. It was like so hot, and that's not fun when it's like temperatures in 30s. I don't know what is 30s in Fahrenheit, 90s or something like that. Look at this, air, 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 air. Hi Lottie, what's up? Want air, water? I was thinking water, but let me see. Let me give you a few more moments to kind of like tell me which one you want me to read. Air or water? Nobody's saying anything. We're having air. Look at this, air, air, air. Okay. Huh, water, 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 water. Okay, air. Let's do the air. Let's see my air people, what basically is going to, and was I supposed to take Lenormand? I was supposed to take Lenormand out. Okay, I'm just going with the flow today. Ooh, this is talking about danger. You know, this rune is like really interesting. Like we see just like I, but I always kind of runes that don't follow their like, I mean, names. This is like called Isa. And this is like the rune of danger. This is really rune number 11. So there you go, all of you who were kind of like giving suggestions. So this is talking about, what do you call it? Ice, right? Ice and cold. It's kind of like about these peaks, right? This is also relating to January. And kind of like the month of January, I think the Norse people called snow moon, I believe, something like that. So there is like no inverse meaning because it's exactly the same in both kind of like things. So it's kind of like being ice and being cold-hearted, so cooling of affection. It could be emotionally chill time, but this is also something like unstoppable. Just think of, I always when I see this rune, I think of an iceberg, something that is coming through. And funny enough, I'm not seeing that as a bad news. I'm seeing that maybe air needs to chip that ice around their hearts. That air kind of like really contributed to some kind of like coldness, and there's like really time to kind of like melt it. That's sort of like what I'm getting over here. So let me just see over here for air. What else do we have? And we have a friend. Is there like, I mean, a loss of a friend over here? Oh my gosh, this is kind of like really Aquarius coming through here, right? Because Aquarius is kind of like all about friendship, all about kind of like we belong to everybody. So when it's reversed, it can be a problem with the relationship with a friend. That could be somebody who's just simply unfaithful friend, somebody who cannot keep a secret, or it can be some kind of like misunderstanding or argument over somebody who is actually really, really close to you. So this is kind of like where this kind of like chill feels, and I definitely am picking up very Aquarian energy here. That could also be a false friend, a foe, somebody who really wants to be around you because something they kind of like benefit out of it. For example, somebody might actually tell you while you know, like when people say, oh, take your meds or something, and I know it's kind of like said sarcastically, but this person here, like, I mean, who should be like somebody you know, saying things like that would kind of like really make a bigger impact. So sort of like you need to question who it is, the person who is saying this, because this is also telling me that friendship has to be both giving and receiving. So needing to kind of like assess this. Have you been a good friend, or have others been a good friend to you? Can you kind of like figure out those certain things that are flowing or are not flowing in two directions? Let me just get Lenormand here. Let's see. More bad news for air. I've been on ice for 18 months. Well, on ice, you're preserving your good looks. You have to look at this kind of like silver lining. And thank God there is the sun, and sun minimizes everything. So it's kind of like saying this is actually good that is happening. It's good in terms that some reveal is happening, right? So it's almost like me, and I'm actually watcher of these design shows. I absolutely love design shows. It's kind of like taking me away from the news. It's taking me away from everything. It's kind of like people who have this, like, I mean, really friendly banter, and it kind of really relaxes me. So it's kind of like they demolish this whole freaking place, and that in the end, kind of like there's like, ta-da! It's a big reveal, right? So while they're demolishing, everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is just so horrible, I can't believe it, I invested my money into this. And of course, you know that it's going to be really happy ending. So it's kind of like my version of basically a fairy tale in this. So the sun is kind of like almost like reminding me of this. It's like something positive, something kind of brilliance. So maybe it's going to be positive to get rid of the friend, or maybe things are going to get simply kind of resolved. Both of these things are going to really work, right? So there is like something that, you know, brightens everything. It's a new day, it's a new beginning, it's going to have bright possibilities. So if one door closes, that means there are like other things that are opening over here. It's going to be really important. And actually maybe something that I was like almost not working can become really thriving. And it can simply talk about that maybe arrival of somebody who is optimistic and cheerful and sort of like secured in themselves. But maybe somebody who, it could be us, that maybe we have been a little bit self-centered and egotistical, and now we are kind of like cheering up and kind of like shining bright. But this also means that the sun is going to melt this crap that we actually see over here. You tickled CB? I did. Okay, so all right, so let's see here. What is this? Who do I want to do first? Let's go with Aquarius, because the friend card over here, I'm on ice, but it's preserving my looks. Yes, you have to look at the positive, right? So 6 of Wands. Oh my gosh, somebody's going to feel victorious. I don't like this card. I really don't. And I am silly. I'm silly. 6 of Wands is a really, really good card. I just kind of don't like the sense of victory. I know this sounds awful. I know there is like something wrong with me. And the reason I don't like it is because I always feel there is somebody losing, and I prefer to have people who kind of like are equal to me and not to put them down. I was never a boss who would just like call you, well, you're my employee, you better do what I tell you. If I cannot convey to you what I really wanted, then you really cannot be on my team. I will get rid of you. Yeah, I have no problem with this, but not after trying to kind of like make you an equal partner, which means understanding that I'm busy, that you don't interrupt me, and that I expect certain things to happen. That to me was like better than kind of like that micromanaging. So 6 of Wands is more or less talking about emerging like up as a winner, and plus with the 10 of Coins, maybe something in the family, you're going to get some understanding, a feeling that you're kind of like really contributing something and some goodness. And 10 of Coins is like really feeling that things are accomplished. This is really not typical for Aquarius, and it clearly talks about some kind of like emotional response, and this is clearly coming to the sun. And there is like this poem in Croatian, which of course I'm not going to recite because nobody here can understand Croatian, but translation would loosely be, the happiness is really nice when you're waiting for it, right? When only kind of like gives you a little bit of tidbits of it. That's a really, really famous poem. And that's kind of like what I see here. You're not longer waiting for it. It's kind of like really opening doors. So even though, you know, like there was like some situation, I really think this is more or less referring to the past that has been coldish, or things need to be resolved. All of a sudden things are just so going to get better, right? So let's see. Healing. Did I not say it is kind of like healing? There's like something from the past that is melting. Well, we are not going to be called aloof and heartless and all of the stuff. So I'm wondering, and this is a $1 million question, what labels are going to assign to basically us air signs, especially Aquarians already here. That's going to be funny because we are not going to look at Aquarians this week. We're going to be warm and fuzzy, and you want to cuddle up with us. And look at this, merriment, allegrezza. So it's going to be joyful things. So I really think that Aquarius is in a party mode. We are already, actually it's funny, I was driving yesterday, and usually around this time you have like these Christmas balls everywhere you can buy them, dollar stores, expensive stores. For some reason, anywhere I walk to Winners, they don't have this Christmas decos. It's like, what the heck is going on? Am I too early with Christmas this year? So that's kind of like I was thinking, oh, maybe I'm celebrating this entire month, not like the normal people. Maybe this is all what it is. Like, we are not allowing the boundaries, such as like December starts on the 25th to celebrate, but things are starting earlier. So, Libra. Oh, you have the Hangman. Oh, Libra is in the charity mode. Are you guys going to volunteer? Absolutely charity mode. So Libra is still doing some kind of like thinking. There are like some sacrifices being made. Like, you're having like two really interesting cards. Both of them are more or less observation. One is like observing yourself internally. One is observing the others externally. Who will you let in? And maybe this is what it is. And maybe maybe you wronged somebody, or some situation happened here, and now you are simply looking what's going to happen, but you're looking also thinking what you need to sacrifice to actually go in that direction. And also it's kind of like really give and take, because you guys are always keeping that scale in balance. So I actually really like it, because you are doing your part and you're expecting the other person to do their part, and you're saying, well, if you want to kind of like move forward from this situation, the scale has to balance, and you're kind of like making sure. And I really like it that you're doing your part. You're not only waiting for the other person. So this is absolutely lovely over here. So we have grace, and it's absolutely lovely. If there is one sign that has grace, it is you. And for some reason I never get that from Libra. I just get this complete confusion, and I absolutely hate when I'm stuck, because Aquarians don't have the problem at all. And it like feels like, okay, you know, I want a coffee. Well, maybe I want to go to the bathroom first. Oh, well, let me grab this book. It's like, oh my God, look what I'm doing. Like, am I like 100 years old or something? So visit. Well, visit is not just like technically about visits. So maybe you're expecting somebody. Visit can also basically talk about expansion of kind of like what you kind of like really want to do, right? I'm wondering here if because like you can see it here, somebody arriving. It's almost like what's her name? Tara, what's that name? Gone with the Wind, kind of like, right? Scarlet, kind of like tomorrow is another day. And given that there's like this peace, I really think maybe you're waiting for somebody to come through. So this can actually also talk about messages, and it actually can talk about love interest. Maybe it can talk about relationship, kind of handle it, not kind of like abruptly, handle it with big grace. And like when it comes through, kind of like be very you know, forgiving, because this person really wants to make it work. So I kind of really like that. And who I didn't do, Gemini, what's going on here? This one wants to come through, 6 of Coins, and this one wanted to come through, 9 of Wands. So look at this. Talking about this balance that Libra had, Gemini, you have the same thing. There is like this balance. There's like something that you are saying to yourself, look, like I kept trying like so much to get this balance in order, but if we put this one more on the top, it's going to work. 6 of Coins is also about gratitude, what you can do for the others, right? The 9 of Wands is kind of like really figuring it out, what is needed, both for you. It kind of relates to that Hermit card, to that wisdom, right? But it also relates to kind of like being in a position to give. Also, it's if you're not exactly in a position to give, then you have to understand if you're getting enough. Maybe you have been giving before and now you're not getting enough, and there is like this whole understanding of what kind of like works. It's also understanding that not everything is money, that the best parts in life are the ones that are not including money, and it is kind of like going along these lines. 9 of Wands is also being diligent, and and kind of like insistent that, like, I mean, things can work out. Maybe somebody's like giving up on certain things. Maybe there was like this argument and most people will just like huff it off and say, oh, you know, never mind. So one friend less or one relationship less, I'm not going there. Somebody's pride gets in the way, but not you. You will actually really want to clarify that and deal with that and fight for it. And that's actually a really commendable quality over here. So yeah, people need her to, like, these are really nice cards. Don't insult Polina's cards. Here's expectancy of the gifts over here. So yeah, it kind of like comes together with this. There's like some kind of like giving here. Maybe you guys are buying gifts and you're wondering, you know, if you're overdoing, if you're underdoing, kind of a thing. And you're being very, very thoughtful about that, how to go about that. So that's kind of like interesting. So let me just get one more card here. And there is the constancy. You know what? Like, I mean, whatever you're doing right now, just imagine that you can generate brownie points or you can lose brownie points. Hi, Seffi, Seffi, you can get brownie points if you come here. Seffi, where the birds? Oh my gosh, this is a deep sleep. Even the ear didn't flicker, so that's a really, really deep sleep. So constancy, right? I did say it. It's about building blocks. It's about what basically can be created. You literally have to focus this week on creating things. You need to focus to see, be very resourceful. You know, let's see, you see cheap curtains in a dollar store, but you kind of like put some edges, or you put these kind of like, you know, crystals, you hang on them, and all of a sudden they're like freaking gorgeous. You're kind of like creating from something really huge and enormous and beautiful out of nothing. And it's kind of like going to really kind of like enrich things, and you're going to start feeling better in this new environment. So you're really being watched. So be really kind of, and this, when you're being watched, doesn't mean, oh, I'm just going to spend this week giving and giving and giving. No, this is really talking about balance, because if you give too much, the universe might say, okay, so you don't need anything, right? Make sure the balance is there. You can being kind of like really questioned this week, but in a really, really good way. So there you go. Air is going to have a little bit of interesting pre-Christmas time. So who is next? We didn't do water, so water come last. Water come last. Let's shuffle it. You see, I got these cards. They're like all kind of like damaged. Sometimes these printers, they put things together while they are still wet, and then they destroy this whole batch because of somebody's, you know, rushing to do things. You see how rushing can actually really damage things? Okay, sip of coffee. Sip of coffee. And I have to mute the microphone for a second to attend to my nose. So you can tell that I haven't been hermit lately. If I can get this kind of like viruses from people, you just have to step out. It just like jumps on you, kind of like a thing. Okay, water, my sweet water. Let's see what's going to happen. Who is the water here? Who is water? Who is water? It's kind of funny. I was discussing with Lati. I got a comment on, I think, Gemini reading, and this woman said, "We Geminis don't like this reading." I feel like, isn't this lovely? Like, it's like me speaking for the whole mankind. Like, we Aquarians. So I'm just talking about what? Like, I mean, 1 billion people. Like, I mean, how arrogant. I was like really laughing. I'm feeling much better, Lati. It's just like last week, I just couldn't get enough sleep. And it's exhausting when you want to sleep and you didn't get enough sleep and you cannot fall asleep. It's just like, oh my freaking God, what is happening to me, right? So, water. What kind of chance are you taking over here? That's the rune of chance, Perto, right? And it is in the upright position, and it's talking about life is a gamble. So you're gambling on something, right? Perto means pawn or gambling piece. So it's kind of like really, really weird, because I think the Norses, you know how we like to wear luck symbols, but Norses, like, I think it was a story, I was trying to remember the name of this person. I know it was a story about somebody having this kind of like etched in his basically dice cup, presumably to kind of like to bring this luck, but they basically, you know, convicted this person, you know, of heresy and burned this person on a stake, right? Strangely, this is because this kind of like governs basically chance and has particular relationship with life winners and losers. So this is talking about a strict instruction from the universe to kind of like really kind of like get this message. Usually if this is the only rune in the reading, I would have to stop. There are a few runes that tell you you cannot go further, but we had the other runes, right? So because this is happening sort of like not at the end either, so it's not the very last sign, but it's like toward the end, it can actually tell you that, you know, that runes will be responsive toward you, right? And taking a chance is likely going to pay off in a big way. It's telling me that you are playing game of life very well, but given that it's really close to the ending of the reading, there are like just, you know, 3 signs left, it's kind of like telling me that there's like some kind of like secrets in here as well. So kind of like keep your cards close to your chest. Don't kind of like put everything down on a table, right? This is also rune kind of like connecting with prophecy. So you might, I don't know, have psychic dreams, you might get your tarot reading. It's going to be really interesting week, and of course Scorpio is coming through, giving that they're like really kind of like sending that intensity kind of like my way over here. So we will see what happens over here. So, and hopefully you're hearing my ho 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 bells that are hanging on my microphone here. I'll show you. You see, so each time I kind of like shake the table, they kind of work for us to send us like some really, really good vibrations. Okay, water. Oh my gosh, there it is, this joyfulness. It is like gathering with friends, understanding, you know, like, I mean, what needs to be done to create things in a kind of like happy way. It's a very positive card over here. You know, it's about some kind of resolutions and satisfaction and release, and of course, yes, good times, right? So I really think that one is a guy over here. So there is like this kind of like stuff with the red roses where we see this like kind of element of romance. So, you know, the efforts that you were actually putting into something will be paid off. And if your question is about relationships, it will be joyful, and it's almost like going to be feeling that you were born under lucky star, right? So that's kind of like mistletoe, kind of like kisses all over the place. It can celebrate, you can maybe celebrate promotion or success at work and school, right? And health issues or scares are going to go away. So it's kind of like the destiny, like sort of like this kind of like it's similar to that Wheel of Fortune. And this is kind of like really kind of like completely turning in your favor, right? Because something, so that's why I'm saying don't take too much of the chances, but certainly kind of like things are looking really, really up. So if things go like in a downward motion, that's a chance you're taking of something working out or not. And can you see the my crystals from the window giving us a little bit of sun on the table? Huh, the cross. Well, the cross is the very last Lenormand card. It is a card number 36, and it can talk a lot about destiny. I mean, it certainly kind of like has this kind of like feel that, you know, it's something is karmic and something, you know, can be very negative seeing this, we are bearing something. But this is like about some kind of like burdens and grief and ending and hardships. Maybe you are like on the crossroads. Do you really want to go in one direction to be happy, but you're also wondering what's going to happen if this doesn't really work out? So this is like definitely a test or challenge. So it's maybe looking if something is sustainable, and hence this is coming with a dose of luck, right? It's not like really something that you have been building upon and working on, and now you're like reaping the fruits. This is like really something that it can go either way, kind of like stuff. So maybe they're all regrets coming back to the surface, right, and haunting you and challenging partnerships and hardships, and it can really affect you this week. So just keep in mind that it's going to maybe feel like one moment you're up, one moment is down, one moment you're going from a big happiness, the next moment you're hearing something that is really completely the opposite to how you were feeling the moment ago. So it's going to be highly changeable situation for you this particular week, but it's only a week, so it's going to be interesting. So let's go and get Scorpio, because again the cross is close to this death. You're really coming through over here. All right, let's see Scorpio. Judgment, and that's your card, and Page of Coins. When this card shows up, this is clearly your card. It is about clearance of karma. So this is clearly for you. You were clearly, see, I was picking up that you are coming through. There is like some kind of karmic essence. Things are going to get resolved, and they're going to resolve like for you to benefit karmically. Whether this is good or bad, you will in due time figure out and realize it was like for the best. I really don't think it's going to be anything negative. I think it's going to be love messages, communication. It's going to be very kind of like emotional week in a good way. Page of Coins is like flirtation, but it's also kind of like studious looking into kind of like what needs to be done, right? So it is like pragmatic approach to kind of like things that are at play. Judgment card is like really when we kind of having this ability to clean those karmic burdens. It is a karma card, and as I saw over there, so are you going to get positive brownie points or negative brownie points? Because you're going to definitely clear them. So make sure that you kind of like really maybe take your time to reach the decision if you have to reach decision. Don't kind of like count your chickens too early, kind of a thing, and just like be very diligent in what you are doing over here. So Page of Coins can actually indicate both somebody younger and older. So if somebody younger is that you're dealing with, this person probably is going to have very mature attitude, or if somebody's older, might have very immature attitude. So that's kind of like what is hiding in this card. So let's see here. Openness. Yes, and Judgment is about openness, right? You see these people with the open arms actually arriving to basically their final verdict, to their destiny. Have you been good in this life? So it's almost like one of those points. Only thing, you're not going to die. Only thing is going to be, hey, you need to kind of like figure out how to kind of like really embrace some gifts that you are receiving. It's really kind of like it's coming to resolution of some kind of like situation. So yeah, you guys will really need to figure it out, as Purple Psychic Kitty is saying. Enemy. Interesting. Enemy is really, to me, always a card of an ex. And that can tell you quite a bit about my love life. You know, I'm in relationships more or less Libra. I kind of like really go with the flow, and you know, very agreeable. And then if I see that people are stepping on me and I'm giving them small gentle clues, kind of like, please do that, can I do that? And when they don't get it, then all of a sudden they get tornado. It's kind of like the breeze, tornado, and basically they become an enemy. And it's kind of about confrontation and circumstantial evidence, and why are you doing that to me, kind of a thing, right? So anyway, guys, this is like something that you need to be on guard, especially when it comes to exes or somebody who is a friend or a relative who kind of wants to intrude and disrupt the relationship, somebody who's causing emotional distress. I definitely see that you striving to go toward happiness is going to be something, and that's why things can go both ways. Also could be anxiety or even insomnia here. Sort of like sports are always good, and kind of like doing your exercise to kind of like burn that kind of like thing. So it is kind of like really interesting because you have this kind of cycle here. So it could be some kind of like end of hostilities as well, but it could be somebody who is really angry with you, who maybe feel that you wronged them, right? So it's kind of like really interesting over here. For work, if you guys are asking about things to do at work, just make sure that you check all your contracts, because with this it could be some kind of like cheating going on over there. But I don't see cheating for love relationships over here, to be completely frank with you. Okay, so Stephanie, you like that too. I know, and only people don't get it that I was nudging them millions of times. They just get it. I ask you millions of times and you're still not doing it. It's just like, oh my god, like, I mean, what are you? You're a monster. It's just funny. So let's go with Pisces. Pisces. Hello, you wanna come and visit? You wanna come and visit? Oh, who's sleepy? Who are you sleepy? You, yes, you. Yes, come and say. We have matching ties. Yes, oh, everybody walk up. Come on, say hi. Yes, you're such a pretty girl. You're such a pretty girl. I called you on the table, now I want you off the table. You see how horrible it is to be a cat? Right? Where's your pretty bow? Okay. Shuffy, sure. Show the bum to everybody. Yes, we have the matching ties. You're a pretty girl. Yes, you're a pretty girl. Come on, sit here, and we're going to play bird video as soon as I finish. I want to do Pisces right now. You're not Pisces, you're Aquarius. Come on. It's too bad I don't know her ascendant, but she's definitely a troublemaker, typical Aquarius. Okay, are you coming down? Pisces. So we have Two of Swords, and yeah, she did show the bum today, for sure. She did show it. I don't know if you noticed it, but just right in your face, sniff me up. So Two of Swords and the Hangman. So it's kind of like Pisces are really unwilling to make a decision. Pisces know that there are like certain decisions here that need some kind of like sacrifice, or need some kind of like looking at things from a different kind of like directions, because the Hangman always talks about it. The Two of Swords sometimes talks about reaching a decision that kind of like, you see here is the third eye that actually has to kind of bring it forward. So it is like something that maybe not necessarily is something we want to kind of like bring to the surface, but this kind of like has to be dealt with. So it is very important. I want to see more clarification to see where this has vision. Yeah, it's the third eye vision. So this is not just like, I mean, looking at things around, which this is kind of like looking what is on the surface. You're going much deeper. You're kind of like trying to figure out why it is what it is. You know, sometimes people are abrupt and angry with us, but because you're Pisces, you have this special sense, right? That like sixth sense. You're going, well, wait a minute. Maybe this person is just like very sad, and you know, maybe I have to give this person a big hug. And then you do that, and then you all of a sudden, like, all this kind of like guard that the person had is falling down, and you're healing them. And it's gonna like be one of those weeks. You're going to have X-ray vision, I think, and it's almost like you're going to be this like mother of the universe over here. Did I not talk about somebody angry? So don't jump to conclusions when you see somebody angry, because I really think that somebody really wants to communicate their anger, and you can actually be the person who is capable of helping them resolve or let go something that has been kind of like buried inside. Anger is, as I said, it's just like a the other side of the sadness coin. And the more the angry person is, the more sad they are. It's about something that is not fulfilling. So for you, the trick is not to get triggered when somebody kind of laughs at you, because that's a karmic resolution. You're finally pulling it in and saying, wait a minute, let's walk this path together. Here's my hand. And kind of like, it's not about talking through here. It's simply kind of like leaving them that soft place to fall. And all of a sudden that anger kind of like dissipates just like fog, and karma accomplished for both of you. And these are huge major brownie points, because look what you have here in this card of vision. You have soul, sight, and future. So just like a sight was over here as well, it's kind of like looking from deeply down, like feeling a soul to soul thing, not just eye to eye. It's much different. And who is the last for today? Cancers are last. Cancers are last. Cancers are last. We have the devil, you Cancer, and you have 10 of Wands. Oh my gosh, you're going to be devilish. There's like really talk about some possible cheating. Sorry to say. Yeah, you are. Are you my little devil? You are. That's so cute to see. Well, the devil can also talk about exes coming back. Yeah, let's cover the parts. It can talk about exes coming to it, or somebody's like not willing to come clean and come through, because look at this little marionette that is coming over here forward. It's somebody trying to pull the strings. Maybe you're connected, you're feeling passionate about someone, but you feel you're taking for a fool, right? And like you're also feeling that you're carrying these burdens from the past that do not get resolved. So it almost like sounds like you really want to be in some situation, you really want to be in some kind of like relationship, but now you're realizing the big cost that you're paying for. And I really don't think you're going to do much. The 10 of Wands is really talking about finally getting this realization and getting this assessment of the situation, and you're actually realizing that something is unhealthy. I also would say, guys, be very careful with drinking and driving, and be very careful if your exes are coming back, because it might be something that is unusual and bad surprise over here, and that really wouldn't happen. So you need to kind of like release your burdens, you need to release your secrets, maybe tackle a few things versus everything, because everything is not going to work. So you can as well accomplish one, and because if you try to tackle 10 things, it's not going to happen. Just as I said, efficiency is going to be really important. Take one thing at a time. Address your bills. Maybe you're forgetting something. We have been going through Mercury retrograde, and lots of stuff happens during that period. Look at how pretty girl you are with this bow tie. Yeah. And start sorting things out. Just make the calls. If you're owing money to the creditors, this is going to actually really start getting you out of this karmic situation, which clearly you have as well. So you're literally gambling if you don't do this, because it looks like you'll have tendency not to do it. You'll think that you can get away with. You are not going to get away with this. Just mark my words, right? Right, Safi? And let me get one more card for you. Let me get one more card. Ooh. And there is like fidelity, and there is like one more card that came through. Lover. Is somebody maybe unfaithful to you? You kind of like really want somebody to be loyal to the grave, kind of like sort of things. You're not feeling it. Don't debate it. You kind of like have to figure out what you want. Okay, I didn't do it, or I did do it. And Safi shuffled it. Yeah, I did do it. It's kind of like really important to kind of like address this. It's going to be quite a bit about relationships. Some of these relationships might not be healthy for you. When the devil card shows up, it can actually talk about issues in relationships such as drinking, drugs, different kind of like addictions, maybe work addiction, somebody's working too much. It's definitely talking about imbalance, somebody from the past pulling their strings. Maybe you're dealing with a partner who has ex-wife, ex-husband, kind of like really taking lots of their energy, and you are absorbing that sort of like as kind of like through the second hand, and you're kind of like fed up with this. Maybe there are better ways of dealing with that, and that's why kind of like you'll be maybe reassessing your options how to do it. So there you go. Our morning together is kind of like coming to an end, and I'm wondering if while I was not watching, we do have a winner of a one question reading. I have to see. Lati, did you do it? Did you not do it? I don't know. So what's going on here? This is going back to Lenormand. Virgo dude is a Cancer moon. Huh. Interesting. So when the past calls don't respond, it has nothing new to say. Not necessarily, you know. If you buy a pear, pears do not ripe on a tree, and you actually need to have pears sit. You can fasten the process by putting it next to an apple or next to banana, because the gases are ripening it faster, or in a paper bag. But if you just leave it, things are taking their time in order to be ripened. So hence, maybe it takes time for somebody to mature and to see their way. Yeah, they might be missing a thing if you don't feel it's the right time. So that's this big timing in it, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, it was really nice to hear from you, Dean, and everybody. Thank you very much for your donations. Always helps. I have a very expensive internet service in order to make these like lives really kind of like flowing properly. So hopefully this is going to kind of like work out. I still don't know what it is going on here. So I don't know, Letty. I've seen your email, but it should be okay. Like, I mean, what we talked about it. I'm getting like this hidden messages over here. Oh my gosh. Okay, quickly, Matrix just like spilled water all over the place. I have to go and clean this. Come on, Matrix, what did you do? It's all over the place. Oh my gosh, he's just looking at me like, I mean, come on, slave, clean it up. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything. Who is going to win today? Who is going to win today? Who's going to win today? Okay, Lati, if you don't come back, I will just randomly talk about somebody. Oh, Sally. Oh, this is so weird. I also wanted to say Sally. Sally, are you here? Are you here? I actually know Sally's email, so it actually can work. Sally, I really think she can really use it. Oh my gosh. Let's everybody send some good vibes to Sally, and hopefully everybody next time is going to be your turn. So let me just see something else over here before we go, before I give you like, I mean, music for bye-bye music. So let's see, who do we have? Is Temperance still here? I thought at one point, Letty, you were saying hi to Temperance, but I don't see her here. I don't see her here. Okay, Letty, you know, there is a reading for admin that I want to give, and I'm going to give that reading to Letty. She is like really here through thick and thin with me, helping. So you guys need to fill out your form. Just make sure you select a contest, and it's not necessarily 15 minutes. It can be less or more. It is like one area of life. So Sally just simply has to send me you know, her email. Actually, I know her email, so she doesn't have to put it over here. So exception made, because I know who she is. Okay, guys, and please click on the like button. That means a lot to me. And please order your annual Taroscopes that is supporting the channel. It's next week. I'm totally working on it, and the first ones are going to be starting to come, so it's still kind of like reduced price. And until then, let me play some kind of like music for you, and like put this like ending screen. so we can say goodbye, and until the next time, you guys know that I care for you and that I love you. All the best, guys. Hi guys, thanks again for sticking with me